Yo, what's up everybody? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 event and my predictions for the show. A lot of you guys have been asking me about this, so I decided to make a whole dedicated video to it. Also, I wanted to discuss why I think, even at this point, PlayStation does hold the slight advantage over the Xbox Series X due to past history and what they have. But that could change, of course. So let's first talk about this PlayStation 5 event that was recently announced. It's all going down on Thursday. This Thursday, 1 p.m. PT. That is 4 p.m. Eastern time. And yes, I will be streaming it right here on PlayerEssence. We should be going live a bit early, like an hour or so, to kind of go over just what you guys think. I'll have some giveaways and some cool stuff, some promotions and prizes and stuff. So make sure you guys subscribe, enable notifications, and get ready because this should be a wild show. Now let's go ahead and start off with these PlayStation 5 predictions. Now here's what I don't think is going to be happening at the show. I don't think we're going to get a price for the system. I think a lot of people have been saying, okay, well, this is great and all, PS5, powerful SSD tech, all of that, like, that's really cool, but how much is it going to cost me? Is it going to cost an arm and a leg? Are they going to pull a PlayStation 3 on us? And I think partly, but not at this show. Not at this show, at least. I don't think we're going to get a price because there's no point in revealing a price at this point before Microsoft and before you see what they have. And there's not really any pre-orders that are going to be available. So announcing the price, what does that actually do for you if you don't have pre-orders available and ready to go? People should already know that they should be saving their money if you want to get a PlayStation 5 at launch. So there's just no need to really talk about it. And I don't even really think Sony knows exactly where the PS5 price is going to be because they don't know what the competition is doing just at this point yet. So to me, there's not going to be a price revealed and there's no need to have a price revealed. Now let's talk about the games because I think that's where Sony has the advantage right now at this point over the Xbox Series X because Sony has the first party studios in order to deliver some big games. Now don't get me wrong, obviously Microsoft did a lot of purchasing and bought a lot of first party studios, so that could definitely change, but from what we know right now at this point, Sony does have that. And that leads me into my first prediction that we're going to see at the show, and that is Horizon Zero Dawn. People have been floating this game around quite a bit. If we could see it, could it be a launch title? And if you look at Sony's major games, the 10 million unit seller plus type of games, it's pretty much the game that has the track to be available or ready if they started working on it right away after Horizon Zero Dawn originally released back in 2017. If they started working on it later that year, it has the best development track to be a launch title compared to Sony's other huge hitters, like for example Spider-Man or God of War, which we'll talk about those games and what I think is going to come from them in just a bit. So Horizon Zero Dawn to me could be that game that they start the show with, or even that game that they end the show with and say, hey, it's coming holiday 2020. That would be already right off the back a huge win for Sony because they have that huge 10 million plus selling franchise. That franchise is going to PC, so it's going to get more gamers interested in it that could potentially convert them to buy the PlayStation 5 because it's more like their PC with this whole SSD tech and things that's going on there. So I think maybe that was a little bit of their goal because they said Horizon, out of all the games they have, they chose that one, and then it's coming out this year, but they haven't talked about it too much yet. It's not out just yet, right? And then the PS5 is also coming. It just seems that the timing is more than coincidental when it comes down to with Horizon and the PC release and everything. So I think they're trying to convert some of those Steam and PC players into buying Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on the PlayStation 5 when it drops by blowing them away graphically with it on the PC. So we'll see what happens there. So I think that's definitely a possibility. I'm the most sure on that game out of any of the other games that I'm going to talk about here. But let's get into some of those other games. We'll kind of swing back around to first party, but let's get to some third party stuff here, guys. There is Silent Hill. That game's been floated around quite a bit as well. Rumors just going wild. And while that would be great, I don't trust Konami. I don't trust Konami at all. And maybe Sony's taking hold of the development of this and they're working with Konami, but I still don't trust Konami. So it's a 50-50 for me if we're going to see Silent Hill at this event. I do think that Silent Hill could be like a state of play type of thing that they do later. It's not the biggest franchise out there. Maybe they don't want to talk about it here at this one, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Sony does like to announce things ridiculously early when it comes to certain games, and then they take pretty much all generation or whatever to come out, which they've done before. So we'll see on Silent Hill. Now, another game that people have been floating around that could be shown off here is Resident Evil 8, which I think that is more of a possibility to see Resident Evil 8 at this event than Silent Hill, although Silent Hill could be happening. And the reason why I say Resident Evil 8 is because if you look at it over the years, Sony and Capcom have had a great relationship with Resident Evil and premiering it at big events. Now, most recently was Resident Evil 2 Remake. That game was actually shown off at the PlayStation E3 a couple years back. So I think that they could try to make a similar type of deal with this. If you look at Resident Evil 7 on the PlayStation 4, that had exclusive VR stuff and it was really promoted as a PlayStation title. So they could be trying to emulate that with Resident Evil 8, and obviously they're going to go to that first person stuff. Resident Evil 7 was a huge success for them, although Resident Evil 2 Remake was a huge success for Capcom and pretty much everyone involved too. But we'll see what they want to do going forward with Resident Evil. I'll be honest though, guys, I'm not extremely excited, especially if it's going to be first person like the rumors are kind of floating around, but we have to wait and see what they do with it. Now, moving on to some other third party slash Sony published baby type of stuff. There's been a lot of rumors going around about Bloodborne and what's going to be happening with that. Is it coming to PC? Is it coming to PS5? It's getting a remaster, 4K 60 frames per second. Are we going to see Demon Souls? That's also been rumored and floating around. So I do think something from Software is going to be at this event. Whether it's Bloodborne on the PS5 remastered in 4K 60, or it's Demon Souls remastered or remade on the PlayStation 5, something from Software is going to be there. Bluepoint could be handling these, so maybe it's not from Software developed, but Bluepoint, the people who did like the remake of Shadow of the Colossus, they've done like the Uncharted game, stuff like that, they could have something in the works there. So I think that we're going to see some type of Souls game at this event. And speaking of from Software, Elden Ring, that's also another game that I think Sony can kind of swoop in and get some exclusive marketing and publishing rights. Well, not publishing, but marketing rights for that in the West in order to push that game a bit more. So maybe we see a little bit of a back-to-back from Software action here with Demon Souls or Dark Souls and also Elden Ring as well. So that should be interesting to keep our eye out for that type of stuff. Now, moving on back to first-party games, which everybody obviously is excited about when it comes to the PlayStation system. And like I stated, the reason why they have the advantage at this point, from what we know, God of War. Is this game going to get a teaser or something? I'm not so sure about that. I'm kind of 50-50 on it because they just finished it 2018. That's when the game was released. Yes, if they started working on something almost right away, maybe they could have a teaser, but I think the game would still be pretty far off, and that would probably be like a state of play type of game when you know you have something solid, show it for us after years of development. Like I said, it could be like they're deep into it and they could have something to show, maybe even just a teaser, but I'm just not so sure about that. God of War is another one of those huge franchises that help really move PlayStation systems. So if they're able to get something just shown for us, or even just let us know like, hey, we're working on the next one, that would be pretty cool for all of the hardcore God of War fans out there. Now, another game that I think probably has a little bit of a better probability, just based on some of the rumors floating around, is Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man game from Insomniac. Now, we all know that Sony did purchase the whole studio, so they're all in-house, first party at this point, and they're probably hard at work considering Spider-Man was one of the best-selling PlayStation 4 games, over 13 million units sold, right there in the top PlayStation bracket. So they made a ton of money off of that game, and if they just took that game and they just kind of adapted it, they just moved the engine over, just put it there, said, hey, let's just put this in 4K 60, let's get a sequel out, maybe 2021, I think it's very possible that we see that game and we actually see it running on a PlayStation 5, because we know that they're working on it. They're making way too much money for them not to be, and they didn't do a ton of DLC stuff either. So I do think that we could see Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man game, running on the PS5 shown off, man. That would be absolutely insane. And if you look at it, what we could also see in conjunction with that first party stuff is the tech with the PS5. They've been talking about this SSD and the speeds and the 3D audio, which they did say, hey, wear headphones or whatever the case is, because we have some special stuff that's going on with 3D tech, so, or 3D audio tech, I should say, more like it. So maybe they kind of detail that, especially with the first party games like a Spider-Man, and how you can hear stuff from like the city on one side and the other side's like enhanced, you know, 3D surround sound. So we'll see about that when it comes down to it, but I don't think they're going to spend too much time talking about this tech and that type of tech and all that. I just don't think they're going to do that too much. Now, here's some long shots, all right, guys, some stuff that I'm just throwing out there that probably won't happen, but I want to see it. So Gravity Rush, Japan studio, I mean, they've pretty much been silent. We haven't really heard much from them, and their games don't sell very well at all. Stuff like Gravity Rush 1 and 2, if they packaged those games together and sold them, that would be pretty dope, and put 4K 60 frames per second remasters, because it's interesting. Gravity Rush 1 is a rare game. That is the only version of Gravity Rush that you can play at 60 frames per second. The PS Vita version 30, obviously. You look at Gravity Rush 2, that's 30 on the PS4, but Gravity Rush Remastered on the PS4 is 60 frames per second, running very smooth, and that game has a whole larger secondhand market where they're selling it for a lot more than what you would think. So if they were able to repackage that, put it on a Blu-ray, Gravity Rush 1 and 2 remastered, 60 frames per second, 4K, that would kind of be pretty cool. Now, do I think it's going to show up at an event like this? Probably not, but I'm just throwing some stuff out there that we could potentially see. Now, another thing here, Crash Bandicoot, you know, that's a third-party game now. It's not first-party, but it used to be with Naughty Dog, and maybe we see something from Crash Bandicoot, you know, at this event. Sony's always had deals with the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy that was exclusive for like a year or something like that, so maybe we see something in that realm. But there's a lot of stuff that could happen. We don't really know, but I just wanted to go over some of my bigger predictions for the show. So what are you guys' predictions? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.